Okay, this video is about a particular jig that I tend to make quite often in the field when I'm installing knobs or handles. So what I'll do is I'll make a jig like this, and this is a good example because it has handles that were 4" on center, and they're an exact distance from the bottom of the door to the first hole. So if this is a door, the way this works is it goes on top of the door right there, and you drill the holes using a 3/16 drill bit through these holes. And then if it's hinged on the other side, you flip it over and it's used on that side. Now sometimes you're going to need to put a little bit of a backer. You're going to need a piece of wood on the back when you're drilling so that it doesn't break out in the back. And usually you're dealing with pre-finished material. And usually you don't need this. You can drill just carefully through and it won't blow out the backside enough so that the screw head doesn't cover it. You want it as clean as possible. You'll put a back on there as you drill through. It's a little more work, I know, but and there might be, and you can probably clamp it on there. I've done that, depending on the type, how big your handle jig is. So it's very easy to make. I would use a drill press to make it so that the holes are as straight as possible and an exact distance apart. You can control it better in your shop with a drill press. If you do this in the field, it's a little more difficult because you're going through generally 3/4 material and you don't want to go at an angle, and then every single one you do after that is going to have that same error. So I would prefer that this is made in a drill press in your shop. Basically the distance from here to here is just the center of your door style or wherever you're placing that knob. If it's on a flat door, maybe it's further in, but once you make this jig, you just drill and drill away. You don't have to do any more measuring. That's why it's super handy. You don't have to measure every time in order to drill that hole, okay? The hole size I almost always use is a 3/16 inch. And I tend to use the brad point bit, and I'll show a picture of that. The brad point is my preferred one, especially if I'm not using the jig. You definitely need a brad point because the brad point allows you to locate the exact center point and it will stay centered. But if you use a standard twist drill bit, sometimes that wanders around a little bit and that'll mess up your location of the hole, okay? Okay, so I'm gonna make a jig just to show the process. And while I'm at it, I'm gonna go ahead and make a jig that might actually work for somebody. It's gonna have 1 inch on centers. It's gonna go from 1 to 12 inches. And I'll use my drill press, quote unquote drill press. I think every woodworker needs one of these. Anyways, I'm going to use this to make it, and I'll show you how I do that as well. Might as well. Okay. This is set up right now with it exactly centered on the 2-inch mark. So I have to rotate it 5 times, and that'll move it exactly 1 inch to my next spot, and then I'll just keep going down the line. Okay, here we go. And this is solid maple. Open the right way. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bring it back to 0 here. Right there. And that's another inch. Okay. Okay, we'll move it another inch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. If only woodworking equipment was this accurate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Last one. Okay. Excellent. There we go. I think that looks really good. The backside, I probably should have backed it up with something. It's a little chippy. Okay, so I have my parts, and it doesn't quite matter what thickness you use for these pieces. Anywhere between 1/4 and 3/4 would work. I just like this 1/2 inch. You can see I had about 1/4 inch. That's what I had at the time. So you just basically want to center that. I'm just gonna eyeball it because I don't think it's that important if it's slightly off. I'm not using any glue. Okay, and then this piece on top. So this side you want to be nice and straight. You just nail it there. Now you can use nails or whatever you want. I try to make it so that if I want to alter it later, I can. Okay, and that's it. That's your jig. So there you go. There's a jig that'll work on something you want to start out at 2 inches. And let's say it's a 3-inch handle. You've got a jig for that. You've got for 4-inch, 5-inch, 6-inch. Or you can even take this side and reverse it. You've got a lot of room here. You can rip it on a table saw and kind of make your own jig in the field if you get it half ready like this. If you have a nail gun with you in the field, you can do stuff like that, and a table saw, of course. There you go. I hope that helps. Matter of fact, I like my new jig. Oh, one other thing. I've done this before where I bought some metal bushings to make, and you would drill a bigger hole and push the metal bushing in there. If you're going to reuse something over and over and over, you might want to kind of make it kind of Festool-like, you know? Put some metal bushings in there so they never wear out. But I typically use either maple or a hardwood for the holes, or even MDF. This is MDF. I tend to make new jigs all the time, so, you know, how long do you want them to last? That's the main thing, you know? Because definitely the hole will wear after time, that's true. And you'll have a jig that lasts. Okay, hey, thanks for watching all the way to the end. Really appreciate it. If this episode had any value to you and you would like to see more content like this, hit the subscribe button and the like button, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.